Hello. Today with our shuttle tatting lessons, we are going to be talking about shuttles. Now, there is a different form of tatting called needle tatting, and I will be making videos on that at some point, but just know there is a completely different process and way where you can make tatting. If the shuttle doesn't feel like your style, check out needle tatting. But today we're talking about shuttles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the ways to put thread on each of these two different kinds of shuttles, and then if you do not have any of these, I will show you how to make your own shuttle at home. So there are a few other types than what I have right here. So this is a post shuttle, and this is a bobbin shuttle. So this will click right in here. Now, I prefer the bobbin shuttle, so that's what I'm going to show you first. If you didn't know, this is an airlet shuttle. This little part right here holds your bobbin in place while you wind it. So I like to start with a slip knot on mine. That way, if I do happen to start to get close to running out of thread, it gives me a little bit more that I can use. So if you just wind this up on its own, what tends to happen when you get to the point where there's just a very thin layer is that it pulls all off, and then you have to deal with that. But if I start with a slip knot, then it's just a matter of winding it on, just like this. And you want to make sure that you're winding it on not too tightly, but not too loose. And you can go all the way to this very edge, as long as from the side you don't see any poking past this plastic. You can wind it all the way up. Now, typically there is patterns that start with continuous thread method. Even if you see continuous thread method, what you want to do is roughly measure or guess how much thread you just put on this bobbin, and then what you would do is you would proceed to cut after you measure about how much you just put on this one. You would pull it out. We'll finish winding this one up. I'm actually going to do a project with these after this. So I'm going to wind this one up, right? I want it about that full. I'm not doing a super huge amount of work here. And when you put your bobbin in, typically, this is the way you want the thread. So you want it coming down like this to the left when you work with it. So if you put your bobbin in correctly, it should be able to do that. So now, this one, okay, it says continuous thread method. What you're going to do is you're going to pull about the same amount off your ball. We'll say that this is good. I'm going to grab my scissors here. Snip. And then what you're going to do is the same thing. So you're going to make a slip knot. And we're going to put it around our bobbin. And then remember, the bobbin can click right on here. So how do I get it to stop from slipping? I typically hold this little piece right here, and then I just start winding. It's quite easy once you get the hang of it, but I remember being really confused for my first few projects, and it took me a few years to figure out the slip knot trick. My great friend who taught me a lot about tatting taught me that one. It's very helpful for when once I start running out, it's nice because it doesn't just come right off. And then you're going to leave a little bit in between. Remember, we want it coming down and out like this. So this is what you want. This is what you want when it says continuous thread method. Now there's also patterns that say off the ball. Okay, well here's our post shuttle. So you can see there's this post, there's a hole in it. I'm going to start it the same way. I'm going to start it with a slip knot. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap in the plastic on either side. So we're just going to loop this through one side. We're going to make our slip knot a little bit bigger so it loops all the way through, and then cinch it down. Now if you continue to yank on this, it will start to come undone. And then we're just going to hold this. Well, let me hold this, and then now they do make a holder for this one. So since you can't just put your you can't take the post out, you got to hold the whole thing. They do actually make things that just hold the bottom half so that it's easier to wind, but I don't mind. I don't find it that difficult where I'd buy something to fix that problem. But it is an option if you don't have hand dexterity or can't hold things like this or any other issues, or just want a little bit of help with it. So you'd wind this, and let's say the pattern says off the ball, then you're done. So if a pattern says you're going with one shuttle and a ball, then you just leave it attached. Don't cut anything, don't take it off, and then you just start your project. But say you don't have a shuttle. There is a different type of shuttle than these two that is typically completely flat. So you can make one out of cardboard. Now, you literally just need scissors and a piece of cardboard. The stronger the better. You don't want it to be too flimsy. But if we just... I'm just going to make a little teardrop shape to start here. And then we're going to make a little notch. On one side. And then we're going to make a little notch on the other side. Now you can make this whatever size you can use, play around with it. You can always cut it down, fix it, whatever you need to do. But essentially what's going to happen is, and we'll have to take this off real fast, you can see that it's functionally going to be about the same as this. Now, this has an unpicker and this one has a hook. So if you're going to use this, you would need to have a crochet hook to go along with it to unpick your stitches and do things like picots. We'll be talking about picots in a later video. So I'm going to take this all off, and as I said, you can literally, if you just pull, you're going to undo that slip knot. So then I'm just also going to start with a slip knot. I'm going to go slip knot here, and then hold this tail, which you don't usually want the tail to be this long, and just start winding. And this one is going to vary a lot in size. It doesn't really matter as long as you can. The real test would be, can I just start a ring? Can I get this through my hand? No? Okay, no problem. We can just shave some more off and make it a little bit smaller. Now I have small hands, so a shape like this could work for you better. It's just all dependent on you, so do it what's going to fit for you. But you can see they also make these types of shuttles with wood. If you are somebody who knows a wood carver or can carve wood, they also make these types of shuttles with pottery. Also really cool. I've seen some glass ones as well and some metal ones. So this is just a normal type of shuttle, and you can just make it with cardboard. Okay, so let's try again. Can I make... So we're gonna go and make our first stitch. You can see it's a little bit different because you are gonna have to move, but this is also how you do it with a post shuttle. A bobbin shuttle is the only one that lets out thread for you just by spinning. So we're gonna pull this through, and I made a stitch. So you can make your own shuttle if you don't have any of these. Airlets, you can go to the Handy Hands website. I bought this one. It's a clover shuttle. I bought this while I was on a trip to Japan, and there are multiple different places you can get these. I like buying from the Handy Hands website, or you can always look and see if there's somebody local to your country or area that does sell tatting supplies, because Handy Hands has a lot of distributors. In fact, you can go look on the Handy Hands website, and I believe there is a list of distributors by country, so you can see who distributes in your country and perhaps buy from them. I always love supporting local. I have my Tatting Handy Hands distributor that I love to buy from, who lives in my country. So just know, these are the different size of bobbins. That is how you load them. I prefer ones with hooks, but I will warn you, they love to get caught in things. I've caught them in my shirt, do a bunch of other crafts. I've caught them inside my yarn on a top that I was wearing. I've caught them in a blanket. They get caught a lot. But with these ones, sometimes you have to go in and, make these a little more blunt so that you don't stab yourself so much. But it's all up to you what kind of shuttle you like using. Like I said, there are some gorgeous, gorgeous ceramic versions of this type of shuttle on Etsy as well. So just look, see what's available in your area, find what works for you. Because at the end of the day, if it works for you, then it works. So if it's a cardboard shuttle, or, you know, an airlit shuttle, or post shuttle, or ceramic shuttle, it doesn't matter. Try things out. See if you can't borrow from somebody you know. Just try it out and find what feels best. That's what I did. These were the first ones I ever tried, and they're still some of my favorites. But, you know, sometimes you don't have a shuttle around, you gotta make one, because you can't stop crafting. I know the feeling. So, this has been another lesson in shuttle tatting, and I will see you guys back for the next video.